My name's Brant Gould, and I own Four Stage Winery along with my wife. It is a family-owned and operated business. My father-in-law is Butch Meyer. He is a master vintner. In the 15 years, we've been talking about what it would be like to open a winery. And at that time, there were only 3 or 4 wineries in the state of Kentucky. So it was just a dream. It was something we talked about when we sat around and drank wine or went to dinner. It was just a cookout conversation. And as time went on, that conversation became more real and became more of something that could happen. I am the 4th winery in Bullitt County that has opened. After the 3rd winery opened, I knew this is what I wanted to do. There was a great following for the local wineries in Kentucky. I surrounded myself with the best people that have our best interest at heart. So we had a good group. Now it came down to location. And what better location than the gateway to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail? People come from all over the world to Kentucky just to go on the Bourbon Trail. So we chose this location, and it's a great location. We're located across from Bernheim Forest, which is over 16,000 acres. You know, people come out here and they hike and bike and picnic, and it's just a winery fits great in the whole demographics of this area. At that time, Butch was already making wine for Brooks Hill and Millanova, and as having him in my corner as a master vintner, he's, as a home winemaker, he's won over 1,000 awards. And in 2005, he was Winemaker Magazine's Winemaker of the Year.
I work for Kentucky Vintners Incorporated, which the wineries, there's 3 wineries in the area that contract with Kentucky Vintners to have wine making consultant work done. And that's what I am, a consultant. Wine is a fermented juice, grape, berry, fruit, whatever, and the fermentation process turns the fruit into alcohol and carbon dioxide gas through the fermentation process. And the fermentation is caused by the yeast in the must. You have white wines and red wines, and they're treated a little differently. White wines, you don't ferment on the skins. Red wines, you do. You crush and destem grapes, ferment them for roughly a week on skins. It extracts the color, tannins, and a lot more phenolics from the fruit. We try to ferment all of our white wines and fruit wines cooler, cold fermentation, and that retains the fruitiness and the aromas and taste in the wine. Now, red wines are different, and they're fermented warm, and that is more to extract color and tannins from the skins.
When we first started, we started out very small in our number of wines. I believe we started with 6 wines, and then it grew to 8, and now we're up to about 16 or 18 different varietals. And we started with a sweet white, a sweet red, a rosé, and then we started with our fruit, which was our blackberry, and then our dessert, we started with Chakakan. Then my wife said, make me a pomegranate wine. And of course, got to make the wife happy. So we made a pomegranate wine, and we wanted to do something other than just straight pomegranate, because pomegranate is very tart. So we played around with different all-natural flavorings, and black cherry worked the best. So we made the black cherry pomegranate, and since it was released, it is now our #1 seller, and it's kind of what we're becoming known for. And like Butch, most winery owners that you'll meet, we like the dry wines, but the sweet wines, that's what the public want. So even in the whole region, from Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, it's sweet wines, and I think we've capitalized on that. We do sweet wines very well, and the black cherry pomegranate has become our #1 seller. And slowly, we just released our Moscato, and our sweet Moscato is it's slowly catching up. So I believe it'll be our #2 seller.
The type of wines we make are really determined by the customer. Probably 75% of the wines we make and sell come from American grape varieties and also some French hybrids. Now, and the berry and fruit wines. Those are sweeter style wines. Personally, I like to make the drier wines because that's what I like to drink. And I know all the wineries in the area make a blackberry wine, for example. That's very, very popular. I think we may be the only one locally making blackberry now from local fruit. So our grapes, we don't grow any of our own grapes here at Forest Edge, but we buy from areas that produce the best fruit.
We do have a wine out. It's called Honey Bear, and it's made with 100% Kentucky honey. Most of that honey was in Bullitt County, some from southern Jefferson County down to southern Bullitt County, all within about 25 miles of the winery. Just one day got talking to a beekeeper, and he was talking about his honey, and the more the conversation went in, I said, hey, I would like to try to make a mead. So we got some honey from him and made our first batch of mead. And a mead is a wine made with honey. Anything made with honey is a mead. Ours is 100% honey wine, and it has a great honey taste. And I believe you'll get the health benefits of, you know, the allergy relief with local honey. We don't use the store-bought honey to make it, so it is local. So the bees all pollinated around here, and since then, we've had at least 5 beekeepers start beehives within a mile of the winery. So we'll even get more local than we had before.
Forest Edge has some of the more unique wines, or at least they're unique to the area. We may be the only one making sparkling wine, and we have just started that process, and we're going to make some sweeter fruit sparkling wines, and then we're going to make sparkling Moscato, and we're going to make a sparkling ice wine style made from the diamond grape, and it's going to be called Bling. So we're really looking forward to that. A sparkling wine gets its sparkle from the fizz of carbon dioxide that's in the wine. And there's several ways to get that carbon dioxide in there. You can ferment it in the bottle, and creates pressure and the carbon dioxide, and that's the fizz that you get and the bubbles that come up in the wine when you pour it in a glass. And then you can also infuse it with carbon dioxide and leave it under pressure for several days, and that will sparkle it. And then you bottle it with the carbon dioxide in the gas, and then when you pop the cork and pour it, you know, it'll bubble and be carbonated, just like a soft drink or sparkling wine or beer or whatever. It has fizz to it. And we also make a chocolate Concord. And as far as I know, we're the only ones in the country doing that. It's made from Concord and chocolate, dark chocolate infused, all natural extract. And it's made in a sweeter, a little higher alcohol style. And it's been very, very popular. My favorite wine here is what I like to drink, which is a Cabernet Sauvignon. And that's my favorite wine, regardless of where it comes from. Matter of fact, the license tag on my truck says Cab Sav. But and my favorite Cab Sav we have here is Raymond's Reserve, and it's one that was aged in French oak barrels, and it just makes it a little special.
Here at Forest Edge, we age all our red vinifers, our Cabernet, our Merlot, our red Old Vine Red Zinfandel, our Cab Merlot, our Bordeaux blends. They're all aged in American oak. Our Raymond's Reserve is the only one that we have that's aged in French oak. Some of our specialty wines, we have a new one coming out It's called Ridge Running Red, and it is a red wine that's aged in a once-used bourbon barrel. And we source our bourbon barrels from Four Roses and Jim Beam locally. We want to stay here in the county as much as possible. These barrels were freshly dumped, so this red wine has a hint of bourbon to it, and it's going to be I think it's going to be a real fun wine. So that's something that's coming out in the very near future. My favorite wines are the red vinifera's. I like the Cabernets, the Merlots, the Old Vine Red Zinfandels. And in the summertime, our dry Riesling is my go-to white wine. It's chilled, it's refreshing. It has won multiple golds in international competitions. So that's our go-to white wine.